So we begin with the second panel this morning. Uh, with the very challenging and quite difficult topic, fostering intergovernmental and collaborative development for our creative industries. So as we all know, that's in order to creative industries to thrive, working collaboratively in various layers of the ecosystem is essential. In fact, ecosystem is always become a keyword when we're talking about the collaboration and how government role, major role in developing the creative industries. Collaborative work between local government with private sectors, and local with international governments. The challenge especially bigger when a country is population is higher and geographically is very spread out like Indonesia, like Malaysia as well, I think. This is the collaboration and connecting across sectors can empower artists and creative and for them to support our larger economy. Highlighting the importance of collaboration and interconnected. However, looking back on how things are moving on the ground, evaluation on how this collaboration happens and how each of them tones down their sectoral ego becomes essential. So this is the core, and of course there will be a core objective overall. This event, these panels, is we will explore mechanisms for aligning key organizations within the creative industry ecosystem locally and internationally, focusing on the case studies from various countries, and then identify ways to nurture internal and cross-borders innovation hubs, collaboration research, and creative transfers. And decision hopefully will provide an opportunity of how stronger intergovernmental works can help creative industry move forward and facilitates collaboration, resource sharing, policy coherence, market access, innovation, sustainability, and ultimately contributing to the overall growth and vibrancy of the sectors. So that's why we have ensemble the great panels about this intergovernmental things. We have representation from Indonesia. Unfortunately, Pak Neil still accompany our minister to Geneva, so he will be present online from Geneva. Pak Neil El-Himam as our Deputy Chairman for Digital Economy and Creative Products at the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy. And the second one is Alex Sihar. Alex Sihar is the public policy expert at the Director General of Culture within the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, and is the guy that responsible for Dana Indonesia. so we can, but consider the common platform that usually used by the international organization and by so many countries that use the term creative economy also as a culture and creative industries. So Pak Neil and Alex here is represent two of institutions in Indonesia that each represent about creative economy and culture. So that's it. And the next is Isan Satrina. Isan is the representative from Think City, Malaysia. Think City is, I think, an institution like an agency under the government of Malaysia. Yeah. So this is one also example we can learn how this organization translate to push further, and it's more specific than creative economy. I think the task in Think City, so we can learn, share, and because previously also Isan experience working in another agency before that also focus on the creative sectors. So it's will interesting listen hearing the story, the best practice and all the challenges that Isan facing in Malaysia. And last but not least, the last speaker is Samarsia, our country director, British Council for Indonesia and I think Southeast Asia. And British Council is, I think, the very well established global organization from UK that responsible to support, to collaborate and to enhance the creative sectors. And having actually the creative economy term was introduced by UK government during the Tony Blair's administration. So I think it's also we can see a lot of experience and notes that can share about how British Council work with so many government across the world and especially in the culture and creative sectors. So let's just start. So the first is Pak Neil. He will present online. Pak Neil, I just want to remind because we have 4 speakers in our panel. So we have more shorter time for each speaker to present. It's only 5 minutes. And then later on we will continue with discussion and Q&A. Please, Pak Neil, time is yours.
Thank you, Pak Ricky. Good morning, everyone. And early morning here in Geneva. For panelists, the audience. Because I'm let's go to my please show slide. Okay, not top. We have and to economy. So that we have law on economy. This is actually the legacy of Yawa and background 2019. And in it we define creative economy as embodiment of added value from intellectual property. Based on humanity, based on cultural heritage, science, and technology. And we have 17 economic subsectors from applications, photography, music, culinary, up to television video content. Next, please. And this is the result, the impact of creative economy itself. We posted around 1,400 trillion, the national GDP. And export-wise, the value of products export 20 close to 24 billion dollars, and as the total employment in creative economic sectors numbers close to 25 million people. Next, please. And in the Ministry of Creative Tourism and Creative Economy itself, we have several deputies that deals with the value chain of creative economy, from creation, production, promotion, distribution, consumption, conservation, and through innovation, we are going back to creation. And some of the deputies are in charge of this value chains. For example, my deputy, we are in charge mostly in focus on creation and production of IPs. Next. And in terms of another model within nationally, we have just recently, the beginning of this year, the presidential issued a presidential decree on accelerating Indonesian game ecosystem industry. And in it, we have several elements of ecosystem, for example, talents, cultures, products, financing, infrastructure and technology, policy, regulation, and markets. And for each of those elements, actually, the ministry and other institutions work together, as well as with the industry itself. So, for example, for talent-wise, of course, the Ministry of Education, Cultures, and Research and Technology are in charge in developing talents for the game industry itself. of course, with in cooperation with our ministry as well as the industry of the association. So each of these elements has their own focal point, and those focal point are responsible for their developing the ecosystem. It's in this ecosystem, and we are lucky to have coordinating ministry of maritime investment, whereby they are the one who coordinate this, making sure that this president decree can be in place and implemented. Next, the last one. I think this is my last slide. Okay, so in nationally now we go to international. I guess Bu Dia already mentioned at the beginning that we initiate WCCE, and with the help of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, also resulted in UN resolution. Will be implemented in UNGA, starting UNGA 2026. And of course, with the backup of UNCTAD. And now I'm here in Geneva, actually attending the WIPO GA, whereby we reporting the product of our cooperation between WIPO and Ministry of Creative Economy for the collective trademark for creative economy SMEs in Bali, with the collective trademark Unbelievable. So they are happy, we are happy, and probably there's going to be a lot of things in the future, a lot of project in the future, and other of course other mainstreaming in other aspects such as APEC, ASEAN, and the G20, which already mentioned by the gentleman from the India last time. So I think that's it, Pak Ricky. 20 seconds, more than 5 minutes. Okay, thank you.
Let's not delay the next speakers. Please, Alex, time is yours.
Can I have my presentation, please? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today I was invited to present you about Dana Indonesiana. Dana Indonesiana is the new initiative from Indonesia to put an endowment fund for culture. It's been started in... May I start? Yeah? Okay. National Endowment Fund for Culture. We call it Dana Indonesiana. It's been started, the ideas has been there for a long time, but the mandate, it's mandated from the law number 5, 2017, about the advancement of culture. On the Article 49 said that in the context of efforts of the advancement of culture, the central government established a cultural endowment fund. So it's law. And after that, there's an Indonesian Cultural Congress in 2018, where all the cultural side stakeholders in Indonesia gathered together, and we have several resolutions on this Congress, and one of it, the resolution number 6, said that to establish a national endowment fund. And then after that, the president's statement in a meeting with stakeholders in the cultural sector in December 2018 that promised that they will, the government will put set aside some funding for the endowment fund. And the objective of the endowment fund for culture is intended as funding a cultural advancement initiatives, especially for development and utilization of culture. So basically, a creative sector. Guarantee to the sustainability of cultural advancement programs. So how to make it prolong, how to make it sustain for all the initiatives coming from the youth, from the public. And the scope, the endowment fund for culture is used to facilitate community-initiated cultural advancement effort. So it's only for the community-initiated. It cannot be done. It cannot be given to government projects. It cannot be to the local government initiatives. It's supposed to give for the community-based, community-initiated cultural advancement effort. And after that, the technical regulations is inside the presidential regulation number 111, 2021. So there's two ministerial, two minister that is doing this. One, the Minister of Finance for the funding management, and one for the program management is the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology. So the units who's doing this under these two ministers for the Ministry of Finance is done by the LPDP, the Lembaga Pengelola Dana Pendidikan, the one that's supposed to manage the fund, and the one who manages the program is Dana Indonesiana itself. Maybe this is the first endowment fund in Indonesia that includes stakeholders in creating the policy. So, Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, along with the stakeholder, creating this program steering committee and selection committee that is not coming from the government side. It consists of cultural experts, artists, professionals, community activists in the cultural field. So for the planning for each categories or each program, the stakeholders always involved. This is what the spread of the beneficiaries for the pilot program that we did in 2020. It's not using the money coming from the endowment fund. It's for the pilot program, we're using the state's capital. 196 spreading across Indonesia, not spread enough. That's why we changed the policy so we can get more beneficiaries across Indonesia. And this is when we really do it in 2022 as the first beneficiaries receive the endowment fund. There's a total of 300 what we get across Indonesia, and this is the next number, 293, and of course we also have a spread across Indonesia also. And okay, this is the new one, the new initiative. We only do it for 2 years exactly at the moment, and the basic endowment, basic endowment itself has been growing from 2 trillion rupiahs in 2020. The first one is 2 trillion rupiah, and it grew to 3 trillion rupiah in 2022, and then 2023 is raised up to 5 trillion rupiahs. We're pushing it to get more for the next year and the future. At the moment, we run in 7 categories. We do institutional support, we support cultural events, we support micro cinemas, we support the documentation of the cultural objects, we support the creation of innovative creative works for all the artists out there, and also for the researchers and the activists. We support cultural research and studies, and then for specific, how we say it, the specific, very a sustainable and a very good initiative been done for more than 15 or 20 years. We have this specific categories called strategic event and initiative. Why we call it strategic? Because it is strategic for us. They've been doing it for more than 20 years, more than 15 years. What we can do is only support. The initiative is there, the public is there. And for the future, for the not very long future, I hope, we're going to open this matching fund for international distribution to support films, prints, everyone waiting for that, and a matching fund for eminent works. And we also create this specific categories only for support the maestros of its category. I think that will be all, sir.
Okay, thank you, Alex. We will have further on Q&A. Please, the next speakers, Izan. The floor is yours.
Hello, thank you Pak Ricky. Assalamualaikum semua, saya Izan dari Think City Malaysia. And I'll take you very quickly as well, the slides that has been prepared. I'm very happy to be back in Indonesia, of course. As Pak Ricky mentioned, we've worked a few times prior to this under a creative economy lens. But I still continue doing that under the umbrella of Think City, which is a special purpose vehicle under Khazanah Nasional Berhad. And Khazanah Nasional Berhad is, of course, a wholly owned agency under the Ministry of Finance. Our work in Think City, we specialize in making cities better, in making cities livable. And creative economy is part of the engine and actually fueling that vibrancy. And hence, the work that we do beyond urban planning and development, we also see how we can reshape cities and how it's curated, planned, developed, and celebrated as well. So we started in Georgetown, Penang, so I'm not too sure if any of you have been up north in Peninsular Malaysia. Once upon a time, it was in a state of decay, and we were established in 2009. Georgetown at that time was recognized as a World Heritage Site. And a lot of transformation has been done then using the power of small, community-based approach. We've been able to transform Penang with the support of the federal and state government, where we saw transformations of more than 90% of increase in arts and culture establishments, more than 100% growth in F&B and hotels. And that has really provided sustainability to the state, providing added revenue for them to reinvest in the development and infrastructure in Penang. So this has inspired other cities as well to do so. And now we're able to create impact beyond dispersing grants, supporting more than 200 projects at that time, to going beyond Penang, going to Butterworth, Kuala Lumpur, Johor Bahru, Perak. The picture here is in Lenggong, Perak. It's 2 hours from Kuala Lumpur, the national capital of Malaysia. And we're able now to do also placemaking. We focus on resilience, social cohesion, and environment resilience, strat and analytics, in addition to conserving, looking at adaptive reuse, looking at cultural-based economy. I thought, considering the very challenging topic of intergovernment discussion, I thought we'd best to also share how we approach city making. If I bring your attention to the top right of discovery, ideation, etc., it's just our methodology on how we, I think, look at diagnostics first and data, looking at discovering what possible solutions there are, developing those solutions, deploying the implementation, and if it's successful, then we duplicate the implementation in the city and elsewhere. And as Think City is under Khazanah, we're able to pull together other parties. We have the power of convening, I think. We're a neutral party, and we're able to work with the different, whether it's government, public, and the community, and pull everyone together. I thought it would be also appropriate to share with you how we took that methodology in Penang, using the 5 Ds, at developing the policy paperwork, to actually implementing or developing the ideas, deploying the implementations and testing it out before we actually replicated it in other cities. And using the power of small, we're able to see how deploying grants, for example, was a great tool to crowdsource initiatives from the communities, and working with them, co-creating with them, and scaling up their initiatives to bring benefits and gains to the people locally and also to the city itself. So we thought that obviously the approach of leveraging on this methodology and leveraging on creative economy, for example, it's the conscious decision to unlock the full potential of the city. So it provides economic benefits, and I also echo what Ibu Tita was saying. It also provides social benefits in terms of providing jobs, providing happiness, as well to the local communities. So some pictorial examples of some of the work that has been done. And I think the approach of working with the communities provides this co-ownership as well to the programs. So this is up north, up to Kuala Lumpur and Johor, and some of the creative examples of activations and programs we have also deployed elsewhere. So right now, part of my focus that Think City bosses have tasked to me is this project on Kuala Lumpur and how we can reimagine it as a creative cultural district. As the capital city of Malaysia, I think one of the first things we did was understand its history and how it's evolved from the confluence of the two rivers to becoming a world-class city it is today. One thing that remains intact is its history and the heritage buildings that defines it, and the stories and the traditions of the people that needs to be celebrated and enhanced. But because it's in a state of decay somewhat, and there is a hollowing out effect where the administration has moved out and other peoples have moved out to other parts of parts of Kuala Lumpur where it's perhaps more affordable, or the decentralization is happening, you see there's a need for us to focus more on the historic core of the city. But the historic core of the city is also a place where a lot of the creative activities take place. At the moment, if I didn't add slides here, making sure I remain compliant with the briefing notes, Malaysia actually is working towards achieving 3.6% of its contribution to the GDP, which is about 31.9 billion ringgit Malaysia. The sectors are quite similar to the Indonesian ecosystem, where part of the sectors are actually distributed to different ministries. So we have 4 or 5 main ministries managing the different sectors, but of course we also have Ministry of Finance doing financing, Ministry of Education doing arts education, Ministry of Entrepreneurship looking at the creative entrepreneurship component. So it's an organized chaos, or if I can say that diplomatically and politely. But it's I guess a way that a maze that we need to figure out and create diplomacy, harness our relationships, our trust capital with all the partners, and scale it up. So yeah, I thought I would leave that with you, and I'll pass you back to the pengurusi, Pak Ricky.
Thank you, Isan. I think City doing it right because you are under the owner of budget, Ministry of Finance. Next is Summers, yeah, please. Time is yours.
Thank you very much, Ricky. Okay, this is working. Good morning, everyone. Selamat pagi. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me and the British Council to be part of this important discussion that is close to our hearts. As you can see on the screen, so today I want to talk particularly about one regional program that we have just started to support the intergovernmental coordination across the region. But to start with, you may know the British Council as the UK's international organisation for cultural relations. And as Ricky said, the name of creative economy was coined in the UK more than 20 years ago, and since then we have been working in the field of creative economy, and our role has been to advocating and supporting the development of global creative economies. So I want to highlight within that, how we want to combine the expertise and experience from the UK with local knowledge. So it's always an equal partnership, recognizing what we can learn from countries outside of the UK. And also champion creative economy as a key driver for sustainable and inclusive growth. So for those of you who follow our politics, we have a new government in the UK, and growth is very much on top of the agenda, and creative economy is a key supporter of that. And so that's the key message we want to champion. So exactly how we do it, we want to connect the ideas and experience between the UK and other countries, including here in Indonesia and across Southeast Asia, to co-create activities that will tackle challenges at the policy level, at the infrastructure level, and also really focus on empowering local creative talents. As Tiraman said, no one can replace creative workers, but how do we invest on them to make sure that they get the capacity building they need, they get equipped with the skills they need in this modern world so that they can further develop this creative economy? And also to increase that general awareness and understanding on an international level so that there is more buying into the creative economy and creative industries, and also more coordination. So the three strands, I think, speak for themselves. Research, of course, we need to take an evidence-based approach. Leadership and learning, again, going back to capacity building and building that ecosystem. And sector development, looking at enterprises, creative hubs, creative cities, and specific sectors such as fashion, music within the portfolio. So now let me take you with a focus on the new regional program we just launched, as you can see on the screen here. It's called ASEAN UK Advancing Creative Economy Program, in short, ACE, which I think is also on the post there with the ACE Youth Summit. So we obviously like the acronym of ACE, wanting everybody to play the ACE card. So it is a program delivered by the British Council with co-funding from the UK's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office. So I see in the audience my partner in crime, Anila Khan, who is our Minister Councillor for Social Culture from the UK Mission to ASEAN. And we work very closely together on this program and in partnership with the ASEAN Secretariat. So I think you will hear from Jonathan Tan, who's the Assistant Director for Culture and Information at the ASEAN Secretariat. And he has been a driving force behind this program and making sure we have that input from ASEAN right from the start. So it has a strategic alignment because it really supports the UK ASEAN Plan of Action, especially the people-to-people links and exchanges. So as you may know, the UK became the newest dialogue partner for ASEAN in 2021. We have a UK ASEAN Plan of Action, and we are proud this program is accredited by ASEAN Secretariat in support of the Plan of Action and really focus on the sustainable development of creative economy in ASEAN and in the UK. And it also aligns with the ASEAN Social Culture Community Blueprint and focus on human resources development. I also want to highlight we were very honored to have Minister Sandy and the UK ambassador to ASEAN, Sarah Tiffin, at the soft launch of the event in Jakarta not long ago. So what do we set out to do? I want to highlight a few things within the overall objective. First of all, cultural exchange. As I said, this should be an equal partnership. So we want to share experience from the UK and also learn from this region and tap into the rich cultural creativity this region offers, including here in Indonesia, from Malaysia, and etc. We want to support the socio-economic growth. So I think several colleagues have mentioned it's not only the economic growth, but also the social growth. How do we bring people along with us? And fostering that shared ASEAN identity. So I think that has been a hot topic across ASEAN. How do we create that identity, that belonging within the ASEAN region? And raise awareness in the international community. So a platform like this is brilliant to have a global conversation, but also to surface that voice from the global south, or a better term I prefer, from the global majority. So if you look at the activities, it divides into two parts really. Skills development for capacity building, which includes the creative economy training program, where we want to combine that public-private partnership and targeting and working with national and local government officials, but also the practitioners, focused on the future pipeline of talents, the mid-career policymakers and uprising practitioners. And also looking at the festivals for the future between UK and ASEAN. So through the Festival Academy from the British Council and also delegations to the UK to look at things like the music festivals in the UK and other festival management so that we can target to facilitate the capacity building for festival managers and producers. But of course, we need to be guided by data, by evidence. So that's where we're going to commission and conduct 3 researches and mapping. One on the perception poll of creative economy across ASEAN, working very closely with the ASEAN Secretariat, with input from SONCA. And secondly, research and mapping of arts and creative technology landscape in ASEAN, recognizing the important role of technology in the development of creative economy, and also the festival sector mapping of ASEAN. This will build on an initial festival mapping we did in 2022, and you will hear more from my colleague Kemi in the afternoon session on the findings from that mapping. So, outcomes we want to achieve through the program. Again, I'll just highlight a few things. First of all, it's about the capacity building of not only the policymakers, but also the practitioners across ASEAN. So again, supporting that private-public partnership. Secondly, cultural exchange. How we can share ideas, co-create and co-deliver, linking between UK and ASEAN and also intra-ASEAN connectivity. Thirdly, enhance the quality and diversity of the festivals across the ASEAN region. And fourthly, a report with robust data to support future initiatives. Just as a highlight, you'll probably hear more from Jonathan. We want to work more in the future on a creative economy symposium across ASEAN and also a creative economy sustainable framework of ASEAN, so that will provide us as a reference and the structure for us to move forward. So just a quick update on things that have already happened. So the program, we had a soft launch through the Advancing Creative Economy Policy Roundtable here in Jakarta in March this year, attended by more than 60 policymakers representing all 10 ASEAN member states and also Timor-Leste as our support to Timor-Leste's accession to ASEAN. I think the atmosphere in that room in Jakarta was so positive, with people telling us it's the first time they're coming together, having this dedicated opportunity to talk about creative economy within ASEAN and surface the common challenges and problems that we can deal with together. So we want to build on that. Secondly, we took a music festival delegation to the UK earlier this year, and with representatives from most of ASEAN member states, to look at how these are managed in the UK, specifically at Focus Wales and the Great Escape, where there was also a dedicated ASEAN panel to raise awareness about the rich diversity of music festivals in ASEAN. And of course, we're making progress on the perception poll and also the research on arts and creative technology. So I think I'll stop there, but finally, just a plea to say that we want to work with all of you on this exciting journey. So come and talk to me, Anila, my colleague Kemi, after the session and see how we can collaborate. Thank you.
Thank you, Summer. And thank you for your invitation to all the audience to collaborate more. So before I open the Q&A for the audience, if we still have time, I am not promised. I think I have to drop some highlight questions to its speakers. The first one, I think the same question goes to Pak Neil online and Alex. In comparison with other countries, Indonesia have 2 different ministries working on both the creative and cultural sectors. I think I have to revise this. It's more than 2 different ministries that working on creative sector, creative and cultural sector, especially when we're talking about the legal authority on intellectual property, there's under Ministry of Law. And if we talking further about the monetization of the creations and the IP, we're talking
Ministry
about
of Trade.
almost all ministry, trade ministry, industry ministry, investment ministry, and in fact, under our coordinating ministry, there's two coordinating ministry in Indonesia. There's an economic coordinating ministry, whereas there's a deputy minister for creative economy, and in the maritime and investment coordinating ministry, there's also a deputy for tourism and creative economy. So this is the big question. But to answer this question, I would like straight both of you, Pak Neil and Alex, as a high-level policymakers, officers in the government in Indonesia. What is your ideal recommendation for the future of creative economy development in Indonesia in terms of intergovernmental and probably the model of institution in the future? I stop there. I drop the second question to Isan and the third question to Samar first. Then we start the answer for Pak Neil and Alex. And Isan, about this is very interesting. Think Cities is under Ministry of Finance. We would like to to hear the experience. And but you mentioned about your part of this from the beginning. You first was Georgetown, right? Georgetown, I think now is a very vibrant city, and I think Georgetown Festival now is become one of the major cultural and creative festivals. Very important, even in the for Asia right now. So, and I think it's happening on July, right? The Georgetown Festival. So we would like to know to learn how this program succeeds, especially when you're collaborating with the government from the Ministry of Finance and the and also how it's look at the future outlook of Malaysia creative economy, if an ideal intergovernmental collaboration is really existed. And for the last question for Samar is evaluating the current situations. What aspects can we enhance to make sure that intergovernmental collaboration will sustain? And how does the British Council position itself within these collaborations? And maybe you can share a bit about, you mentioned about the co-creation. As far as I remember, British Council is quite consistent co-creations, many creative players from Indonesia and from Asian support co-creation. How far that is this co-creation program goes then, and actually, is there any success stories in the global market ecosystem from this co-creation that already exists? Probably that. So give time to Alex first or Pak Neil first lah. Pak Neil, please.
Alex first.
Sorry, the sounds. Operator, can you?
Alex first.
No, you're first, Pak Neil.
You're first, Pak Neil.
Okay. In terms of the creative economy, creative industry, cultural industries, we overlap. There are so many things that overlaps between ministries, not just both Parekraf and Ministry of Education, Culture, Research and Technology, even with BRAIN. In terms of because at one point Pak Trihandoko was mentioned, like research is actually a process of creativity, creative process as well. So that means a lot of the things that we have here are overlap. But I think in these days of in this era, cooperation, collaboration is become so much important, right? Because we have limited resources in terms of financial resources. We have very limited resources, and that means we need to be creative. We need to work together, and it has been proven before that, for example, in the game industry as well as in the film industry, if you remember during the COVID, we worked together with the stimulus for the film industry, so they can recover faster and recover stronger, of course, at that time. So that we work with the Ministry of Education Cultures, and we also work with Pak Riki with industry as well. We work with the Ministry of Pak Luhut, Ministry of Investment and Maritime and Investment, as well as Ministry of Interior Affairs at that time, and Ministry of Health. When we give stimulus for the production, but also we give in-kind stimulus in terms of policy to open the cinema at that time. Right, so at the and we saw the recovery 2022 when Indonesian moviegoers reached all-time high for 55 million in 2022, and last year is also another record. And this year, I must say that we are getting much higher numbers. So far, already 40 million Indonesian watching Indonesian movies. So that's I think, Pak, we need to coordinate, and I think we already have a good cooperation between us, and we also have good cooperation with Ministry of Trade as well as Kominfo, and of course we need something like coordinating ministry to handle this as well. With their help, of course, we can improve the coordination and the cooperation. Thank you, Pak.
Please.
The intergovernmental works is challenge, of course, and yes, too many bodies doing it in Indonesia and doing it in their own terms. Sometimes, as we know, all government in the world, the departments works in silos, right? It works in their own silos. The challenge is how to break those silos, how to create the process, not to work only for each departmental issues, but how to work within them as in process. In the terms of creative economy, at the moment in Indonesia, in my opinion, what we need is very straightforward policies. And the straightforward policies coming in the term of creative economies is based on IP-based and creative-based and research-based. So what we need is two things: how to create better environment for the IP in Indonesia, and for the better environment for the financing situation for Indonesia, for the industry itself. And both is not in the scope of works of Ministry of Creative Economy and Ministry of Culture. Is under the authorities of Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Law. So I envy you for having your agency under the Ministry of Finance, because for us here, it's struggling so much to learn to each other, because we have very different pace between the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Finance. And of course, this is a good one. We learn each other for the last 2-3 years only for the endowment fund for culture. Only for that, we learn a lot to each other. For outside in the Ministry of Education and Culture, we really learn how to manage the fund, and they really learn a lot how, wow, we have to finance this, how, the rights, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So this is the very opportunity to learn each other. But at the moment, what we need in creative economy, the policy authorities, not the implementation, because the implementation, we can do it across the board. The execution cannot be done by the government. The execution is supposed to be done by the public. And the top one is to create policies. But at the moment, the policies that needed by the creative sectors, the authorities is not the ministers itself. The authority is on the other minister. So it's very challenging. And
Yeah,
it's
that's the challenging for the next administration. Right?
Oh, of course. But we need to streamline it. We need to streamline it.
Yeah.
We need to create better perspective on how to make it as a process together. Yeah.
Okay, so yes, so that's why everyone waiting, looking forward to October to see what the next to answer all these challenges. Please, Isan.
Oh, sorry, Farik, I can see the time is up. It's so huge
Yeah,
in our
okay.
face. So I'll speak very quickly. In fact, Alex, I think I'm envy of Dana Indonesiana. And to be honest, even though we're indirectly related to the Ministry of Finance, we still do have to bid like everybody else for any allocation. And I suppose, I don't speak for the Ministry of Finance. There are obviously other priorities, health, education, and poverty and so forth that they need to look into, that di mana creative economy kepentingannya itu, right? Where are we in the hierarchy of priorities? Yes, hierarchy of the Maslow hierarchy of needs, where are we in that aspect? So I think we need to prioritize creative economy activities that are catalytic. And I think with Malaysia's upcoming chairmanship for ASEAN in 2025, I'm hoping for the future outlook for Malaysia to also symbolize this ASEAN, the acronym, right? So ambitious, synergized, energetic, higher appreciation nation for creative economy. And I think in that same spirit, we're hoping that we can pull together the Southeast Asian communities, potentially do a fringe activity in Tashkent, in Uzbekistan, potentially host World WCCE, the next round in Kuala Lumpur, in view of it wanting to project itself globally, ya, Pak Triawan, ya. So how can we take on this collaboration beyond also conversations and take action as well? Yeah, Ibu bisa ya. Thank you so much. Maybe I'll leave
Thank
it
you,
with that,
Isan.
considering the time.
Yeah, please give us one more minute to give time to Summer to answer.
Okay, 1 minute. I'll keep it very short. I think the question is about how do we sustain the effort of intergovernmental coordination. A few observations from our side. One is about formalized communication and joint committees, because we really need to highlight it in a formal level. So that's why I applaud events like this, the World Conference on Creative Economy, the setup of Friends of Creative Economy by Indonesia. And we've been having a conversation with Jonathan from the ASEAN Secretariat to revive the ASEAN Working Group on Creative Economy. I think there was one in the past, and then somehow it didn't get very active. So given the momentum we're seeing in this room, I think there's argument for reviving that, and especially tapping into Malaysia's chairmanship year next year. Secondly, it's about continuing that capacity building. So that is so important, and it cannot just be a one-off thing that from one project or another project. Can we think more strategically what is needed for the creative practitioners and policymakers, and really creating that community of practice across the region and linking to the rest of the world? Thirdly, how can we develop sustainable funding mechanisms? Again, Dana Indonesia, fantastic. We need more initiatives like that so that there is funding support for the practitioners, for the communities, and especially thinking about the match funding opportunities, as we have spoken about, Alex, between the British Council and Dana Indonesiana. The UK remains committed to supporting this important subject and area of development, but we need more people on board. And finally, it's about increasing public awareness, changing mindset and getting people to see the real benefits, what it means for them. So how this can change their lives, change their livelihood, change their communities. And that's how we can get more people on board. And that is crucial. So as the British Council, we want to bring our network, our expertise and experience from the UK and elsewhere in the globe, and also using our convening power to bring the like-minded partners together to really co-create. So, I mean, I don't have time to give examples, but that's where we see the real value and impact of ideas coming together for the better good for the globe.
Thank you, Summer. So apologize to the audience because we're running out of time, so we don't have Q&A sessions. But I hope you can fill the survey workbook as an input and recommendation. And I think there's a lot of notes that we can bring as a recommendation to WCC in Uzbekistan next October from this panel. So thank you very much. Thank you, Pak Neil, Alex, Izan, Summer for the time. Thank you.